Hello, my name is Daniel Carrillo, and I'm a sophomore here at Yale and a student tour guide for the YCBA. And my tour is titled British Art, British Artists. All right, so I'd like to open my tour with a rather simple question. What makes a piece of art British? Is it art made in the United Kingdom? Is it art made by a British artist? But then who counts as a British artist? Is it art that follows a sort of British style? But then what counts as British style? Is it style homegrown in the British Isles? Is it a style which dominated British artistic circles for a time? And in truth, there really is no solid, definitive answer to any of these questions. But that fact is illuminating. This tour will be examining the liminal boundaries of British art and style and how a convergence of various artists, styles, and movements of all nationalities contributed to creating what is seen as British art today. We begin with Angelica Kauffman's Ronaldo and Armida, a neoclassical piece painted in 1771. Kauffman can be said to be one of the originating members of the Royal Academy of Arts, a still extant institution which has set standards and promoted the visual arts in the United Kingdom since its inception in the late 1700s till today. Now, Kauffman was born in Switzerland to an Austrian family and raised primarily in northern Italy, and as such had a very continental upbringing. She also had a very continental artistic training and was thoroughly educated in the neoclassical Italian tradition. She was even elected to the Accademia di San Luca at the age of 24 in Rome, and there she became involved with various British aristocratic patrons who were on their grand tour at the time. Because of these connections she made, she moved to England at the age of 25 and became heavily involved with the British artistic scene there for the next 15 years. Became especially good friends with Sir Joshua Reynolds. As we turn to the painting itself, we can immediately see some of the hallmarks of Kaufman's Italian upbringing. First, in the subject matter, Ronaldo and Armida is from a 16th century Italian poem by Torquato Tasso about the First Crusade. Ronaldo is a crusader prince and Armida a sorceress sent to thwart the crusade, yet the pair inevitably fall in love. The painting depicts the scene where Ronaldo's fellow crusaders attempt to rescue him. Now, for some general notions and aspects about the painting, we can immediately see that it is ahistorical and classicizing. Crusaders did not dress like this. These characters are in Roman style garb. You can also see how the lighting highlights the characters, not the background. Much of the light being somewhat kind of unnatural and the background being muted. Like it doesn't really quite fall naturally, the light patterns here, which is very different from another painter we'll look at later, Richard Parkes Bonington. Also, here, notice the use of colors. The background is muted greens and browns, but the characters themselves are heavily shaded by bright reds and blues, even the two background characters over here. Now, as we move to our next detail, we can see that there is also kind of an elegant symmetry to the composition without it being static. The two characters here, we have Ronaldo on the left and Armida on the right. They're dynamic yet still oddly symmetrical, with their arms and heads forming an oval shape circling each other. You can see it here if we start kind of tracing the line up from Armida's hip through the on the side of her body, through her arm, down to the flowers, and as you follow the flowers down through Ronaldo's upper arm to elbow, and kind of completing the oval shape here, which you can really start to see once you look for it, even though at first glance you would hardly say it's a very geometric, static piece. We can also notice how the colors are very kind of in the same idea of being symmetrically dynamic. So you look at the cloaks here. So Ronaldo and Armida both have cloaks and kind of have that parallel. But the cloaks are blue and red. They're very different colors and they purposely juxtapose. Look how they're right next to each other. We can also see kind of more parallels with the pairing of the gold and this light bluish gray. See on Ronaldo's tunic, you can see the kind of the gold lace contrasts with this light bluish gray tunic, but that exact same contrast can be seen here with Armida's dress slash skirt and her belt and even the gold on her armband. Now, if we move to kind of the next detail, you can kind of see these same ideas repeated in these two background characters. So we can see that there's kind of also still classical elements with the helmets and the tufts kind of looking at an almost stereotypical Roman centurion type idea. The shield here bears kind of seemingly the head of Minerva. And also the building in the background popping out kind of has these parallel lines and kind of looks like almost like the top of an Athenian column. And it has these very stereotypical classical elements. However, we can also still see the ideas of color that we're seeing in the two main characters, Ronaldo and Armida, in the last detail. We see this exact same blue and red parallel yet opposed with the tufts of the helmets of the two other crusaders. We can still see this contrast of gold and lightish blue with the gold of the helmet kind of being directly contrasted with the metal of the helmet. And as we move to kind of our final detail here, we can see these patterns continuing. See, notice that masterful display of color here, and yet we still have the contrast between the red and the blue. See, this is taking place kind of at the bottom third of the painting, bottom center third of the painting on the forest floor. So you can see the coat of Armida here all the way on the floor, but it's contrasting with this blue cord here. We can still see the color contrasts of the lightish blue of the mirror and the gold of the mirror handle and the gold of kind of the tassels of the cord. And also noticeably, you can see it a bit in the flowers too, which we have already seen earlier in the first detail. Obviously, there's this little bit of the red and blue contrast, but I would also like to note with the flowers about the level of detail. Like we're very zoomed in here, and you can still see all the little details of the flowers. And this is very much with Kauffman's mastery of kind of skill of showing these little details, very kind of the neoclassical idea of not of really trying to get specific and really showing creating a world where one can step in and zoom in and look down and kind of gain see more and more rather than just impression of what you would actually see. You would never be able to make out such detail if you're actually kind of just viewing the world, like viewing the world of the painting head on and there's flowers on the floor. You'll never be able to actually make up such detail if you get close, which you can do with this painting. So it's more of a world you step into rather than an impression in your mind. Now, as we move on to our next painting, we have A Fish Market Near Boulogne by Richard Parkes Bonington. Now, Bonington, for more context about him, was born in Britain, moved to Paris at the age of 14, but then lived in France for the rest of his life. He studied under Baron Gros, the École des Beaux-Arts, and was heavily involved with French romantics, such as Delacroix. As such, he can be said to have either a British or French romantic style or a merging of the two, which is what I more personally agree with. He did return to London occasionally, though, and he did exhibit at the Academy founded by Kauffman. And in this painting here, I feel like he really does show kind of a good cross between like French romantic energy and dynamism and British serene landscapes that were common at this time. All right, so from some general aspects of the painting, the most notable is the scale. The painting has the grandeur of a landscape or seascape, but it's really not quite either, actually. It's a view of the meeting of the land and sea. It's a shorescape, one might say. But it's also one that seems a little bit more concerned with its human component and the grandeur of nature. So we can compare it to two almost contemporaneous paintings, one British, one French. Here we have John Constable's Ploughing Scene in Suffolk, which is actually here at the YCBA. We also have Eugene Delacroix's Liberty Leading the People, which is not at the YCBA, unfortunately, it's in the Louvre. So here, if you look at the Constable piece first, we can really see kind of the hallmarks of British landscape painting at the time. We have this low horizon line, kind of large emphasis on the sky and these open fields. People are there, but they're not really the main focus. The main focus seems to be the land itself, on the trees and the expanse and the sky and all of it. And the humans play a part of it, but I wouldn't say they play the central part of it. Now we can compare this to the Delacroix piece on the right with Liberty Leading the People, and I'd say it's the complete opposite. See, this is a painting that's all about people. It's all about almost chaos, dynamism, drama. Sure, there's form, but it seems very emotional. We see, obviously, there's the famous triangle form here, but it doesn't feel static or stilted at all. It feels like there's movement and emotions, and the faces are full of often contorted or frankly just full of emotion, and it feels kind of very different. They would say kind of a more stoic, serene landscape. But I feel the Bonington has been able to kind of merge both worlds. And especially in this painting, he really shows kind of this confluence of kind of a serene landscape seascape with an emphasis also on the crowd and dynamism of people. Also, note here we have kind of a much more naturalistic use of light than in the Kauffman piece. The the sun in the back is kind of illuminating everything almost naturally. The light here is not used as a highlighter, rather is more used naturally and kind of as a focus of itself. And speaking of focus, there doesn't also seem to be a huge focus of the painting. Thus, you could say it's the center here where the shadow falls, which creates an interesting idea that the shadow is being used to illuminate the focus. Now, if we zoom in here on the center where the shadow falls, we can see a lot of the elements of the French kind of almost like emotional kind of, not, I wouldn't say disorder, but asymmetry. So here, especially compared to Ronaldo Armida, there's plenty of asymmetry. There's not really a clear shape to the people or form, but there is a certain realism to it. The barrels are skewed, the people stand in a jumble. The colors with the emphasis on the reds and the blues seems unorganized yet fundamentally lively. See the red of the headdresses here and here, they kind of really pop out, but so do the blues of the headdress. And even here in this hat, we can see the lines right next to each other, similar to Ronaldo and Armida. And they don't seem organized really here, but they do seem alive. Also, notice here how the faces of the people are starting to get rather blurry and not very distinct, especially look at this figure here, where his face is really kind of just more like three dots and a flat surface. There's a certain degree of abstraction here and kind of atmospheric perspective, where if you go to the next detail, which is further in the background, it becomes even more apparent. See, just compare this to the Kauffman piece from Aldo Armida, where the more you zoom in, especially on the flowers, the more details you see here. Here, the more you zoom in this Bonington piece, the background details seem to slowly start to lose their form. They become not much more than just patches of color, which is more commonplace in the Romantic style this time, and it really bears the mark and draws from the Spanish painter Diego Velázquez. But here, we can see that even the colors kind of start to blend together with the beige pastel of the background and the canvas, and things start to become little more than kind of little splotches of color. It still pops out, especially because of such great coloring techniques here. You look at the whites and the reds and how they really contrast with this pastel pinkish background, and also even the dark colors and even little flecks of green here still makes it seem very alive. It's just there isn't much detailed, I would say, form. And if we turn our eyes to this next detail and we look kind of more at the horizon, we can kind of see this lack of form being used as a form of atmospheric perspective. Look at the boats here as they recede and kind of dissolve into the sky. And they have that haze over them that we've kind of been seeing before, like this haze in the background as things start to lose their distinction as they get further away. We also see here how light is used in the painting, which is a great example. We see kind of the gradient of this flat expanse of the sky. And in many ways, it seems here that he's really using the light itself as a subject. The light is not illuminating anything necessarily, but it's really kind of a focus of the painting. And you can see it's really all about the color of the painting rather than the form. The light here is really just a gradient of color along the sky, and it's no less beautiful. And the interplay and usage of light here kind of prefigures more modern movements later as we get into more abstract ideas. And this whole painting kind of prefigures that as we're kind of to really get into this idea of impressions and what you actually see and what comes across you rather than just a detailed snapshot of the world. Now here we have our final painting, Nocturne in Blue and Silver by James McNeill Whistler. Now, for some info about Whistler, Whistler was an American born in Massachusetts. He spent significant years of his youth in St. Petersburg, Russia. He then returned to the States to enlist at West Point, but after just 1 year, he dropped out and moved to Paris to study painting. His education there consisted of the Beaux-Arts style, and his near contemporaries at the same ateliers consisted of Monet, Renoir. Whistler, however, eschewed his education and he adopted a style of French realism. At this time, he also became interested in Japanese aesthetics and adopted many facets of the Japanese concept of the floating world, which was incredibly vogue in Paris at the time. Whistler soon moved to London, and there he began to loosen his ideas of realism, eventually adopting more abstract ideas and belief in art for art's sake, which is a belief that art doesn't necessarily need to have any didactic, moral, political messages, but really just represent itself. Now, turning to the painting, we can see that the title of the work can be said to accurately represent it, Nocturne in Blue and Silver. The title of Nocturne is a reference to Chopin's famous piano pieces, and blue and silver dominate the composition, which is a view of an industrial plant from Whistler's Chelsea home. Little flecks of yellow illuminate the dark shapes assumed to be buildings over here, and in the foreground there seems to be a lone boatman sailing upriver. The piece dramatically represents Whistler's complex relation with realism. Such a painting is certainly not aiming to create a photorealistic view of the Thames and has a certain degree of abstraction, but this view is perhaps actually what one might remember such a view after returning home in the evening after a long day with dark fog covering the city. It's kind of taking Bonington's ideas and taking them more to the extreme where, yeah, sure, there's a lack of detail and it doesn't really look like a photo, but do you ever really see or remember kind of a photo picture or kind of more sometimes the shapes really are a little more amorphous in your memory? Now, as we return to the first detail, kind of on the left side of the painting in the background, and we know from Whistler's vantage point that this kind of dark, ominous mass are the industrial plants of Morgan's Patent Plumbago Crucible Company. In the painting, they kind of just, or this dark, ominous mass, with few distinguishing features except for these flecks of light and a tall tower. There are long, dark, thin lines emanating from the mass. It's unclear what they are from memory art, and as it would also be unclear if we were to look across the Thames on a dark and foggy night. Now, if we move to the second detail, you can see that this side of the painting consists merely of a dark, thinnish band of indeterminate boundaries here, presumably the bank of the other side of the Thames. But here, Whistler is able to demonstrate his mastery of shading, as the gradient gives the impression of a river, earth, and sky with nothing but shades of blue and silver. Extraordinarily notable, however, is the presence of this singular red fleck. It's really nothing more than a drop, but it's really the only red, and it really jumps out in the whole painting. If we go back here, this red really, really jumps out. Yeah, what exactly is it? I'm not quite sure. It seems to be a light of some kind. We can even see the reflection on the river like all the other lights have. Why is it different color? Is it not a light, but a fire? Why was it included? What does it mean? Why is it so different and jarring compared to the rest of the painting? And to be completely honest, I'm not exactly sure. Now, if we move to our third detail with focusing on the lone boatman figure, which is this part of the building with part of the painting with the most notable form, though to be honest, it really doesn't consist much more of a long, dark rod shape and a vaguely pentagonal figure. Despite such abstraction, it still seems like it still makes sense to consider it as an image of an individual of an action standing on a riverboat as he drifts upriver towards the lights. And it's rather remarkable, to be honest, though, because we can't exactly be sure at all. Like, there's very few details here. It's incredibly abstract. And I'm sure you might see something different here. But at least for me, at least, it makes kind of more sense to be some form of boat floating upriver. Though honestly, it is entirely up to debate about whether this is a man or not, or maybe just something else. And I think Whistler means it like that. That sometimes your memories are unhazy and you're not really quite able to make out what you're seeing. Now, as we conclude and we can see all these paintings at once, I would like to kind of consider how different they are, yet note how they're all still surely are British art, even though they're so different, and even how maybe more importantly that their artists are really not all completely British. Kauffman is an Italian trained Swiss, Bonington, a French raised Englishman, and Whistler was a Russian raised French trained American. But each, despite not being purely British, contributed greatly to British art and what British art can be. Perhaps then each can be said to be just a British artist, no qualification, and that British art and style is not something that is sprung from the land of the British Isles with no other influence, but it really just arises from a convergence of diverse people and styles coming together to create British art and all its diversity. All right, so now that concludes my tour. Here we have a list of all the paintings that were used in the tour, and I would like to thank y'all for attending.